Donald Trump is in the mood for a deal. In the Oval Office, a timid Benjamin Netanyahu sat next to the president as he announced that the US will hold high-level talks with Iran.
We have a very big meeting and we'll see what can happen. And I think everybody agrees that doing a deal would be preferable to doing the obvious.
In his second term, President Trump has repeatedly signaled his desire to secure a deal with his Iranian rivals. For weeks now, the US and Iran have been exchanging a series of messages and letters to resume talks. And if they don't, the message or menace from Donald Trump is Iran will be in great danger. The talks will mark a return to diplomacy after the same Donald Trump pulled the US out of the 2015 nuclear deal signed by Barack Obama, instead opting for a maximum pressure campaign that reinstated US sanctions to force Iranian renegotiations. But that hasn't seemed to work. In response to the US sanctions, Iran has since breached restrictions that were designed to limit its production of uranium. The nuclear watchdog warned that Iran has stockpiled 275 kilos of uranium, and if enriched to 90%, that could be enough for 6 nuclear bombs. The US and Iran will hold the indirect talks in Oman this Saturday. The busiest man in the Trump administration, Steve Witkoff, will lead the US delegation. Iran will be represented by their foreign minister, who says the ball is in America's court.
If the other side shows real intent, we believe a deal can be struck. So as the saying goes, the ball is in the US court. If they show up in Oman with genuine willingness, we'll certainly reach a result.
But the world has changed. Iran can no longer rely on the threat of deterrence from its regional allies, Hamas and Hezbollah. And after 18 months of turmoil in the Middle East, Iran's supreme leader and Donald Trump both know that this is an opportunity to de-escalate, as they say, or not. Well, we're joined now by Dr. Ali Vaez, the Iran project director at the security think tank Crisis Group. Thanks for coming back on the programme, Ali. What do you think Donald Trump really wants out of all this?
It's good to see you, Matt. I think President Trump has the right instincts on Iran. He understands that there is really no military solution to the nuclear challenge with Iran, and a deal is much less costly and much preferable. I think he also, from an ego perspective, he believes that the Iranians are master negotiators, and if he can outwit them at the negotiating table, it will be the ultimate test of his mastery of the art of the deal.
Is it also about containing Israel and the possibility of probabilities at some stage of a military solution to the Iran problem, as they would call it?
Well, correct. If indeed Iran is now a virtual nuclear weapon state, meaning that it is really one screwdriver turn away from being able to weaponize its nuclear program, part of the reason it is at this point is because President Trump withdrew from the 2015 nuclear agreement in his first term, and that removed the restrictions on Iran's nuclear program. From the Israeli perspective, it appears that the real problem is not uranium enrichment in Iran, but Iranian enrichment. Any deal that benefits the Iranian regime is not attractive for Israel. But again, the alternative to no deal is an advanced nuclear program that Israel or the United States cannot tolerate. And I think President Trump is right in pursuing a diplomatic solution.
So the Iranians have been quite coy about these talks. Presumably what they're hoping to get out of them is that the sanctions will be lifted and their economy can get up and running again.
Well, that's right. But the Iranians are also very mistrustful of the United States because President Trump withdrew from the previous nuclear deal in 2018 and reimposed sanctions. And they've also seen some other deals that he has made with other countries where he has also moved the goalposts and either has abandoned or reneged on U.S.'s commitments under those deals. So they are reluctant to engage directly until and unless they know that the U.S. is serious about sanctions relief. And that's why this first round in Oman is going to be indirect. But the Iranian view is that if Steve Witkoff can demonstrate U.S. seriousness, And if the agenda and the end game are acceptable from the Iranian perspective, then the following rounds could happen directly.
Right. Very briefly and finally, I mean, Donald Trump has said that all hell will break loose, or words to that effect, if they don't do a deal. What did he actually have in mind, do you think?
Well, he has to strike Iran's nuclear facilities, but that would only set back Iran's nuclear program by a few months. Iran has already learned the know-how and can revive its nuclear program whenever it decides to do so.